This is one of the poses. Hello, athletes and fans of bodybuilding. Tarek El-Guindy with the Mr. Olympia. We are now on day 2, final analysis of the Arnold Classic. I have with me 8-time Miss Olympia. She is the one and only Linda Murray. How are you, Linda?
Oh, I'm doing fabulous. Fabulous.
Also with me, she's been to the Olympia many times. She's one of the hosts of FemFlex Friday, joining me, Wendy Fortino. How are you, Wendy?
I'm doing wonderful. Just watched a fantastic final Arnold Sports Festival day, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, 4 hours.
Okay. Hadi Chupin wins the Arnold Classic. Linda Murray, why did he win?
Yes, he won because he was in crisp, incredible shape. He dotted every I, he crossed every T. His conditioning and his presentation, his posing was so on point. So on point. You could even the athletes followed him around the stage on the pose down.
Yeah.
What was he? Well, I'm assuming you think he was a lot better than the Olympia, correct?
Yes, he was. I'm not going to say he was a lot better, but he was better than the Olympia. Yes, for sure. And you know what? I mean, it was hard going up against like with Derek Lunsford when he turned to the rear. Derek Lunsford, his glutes, he was on point. So, you know, it was match for match as far as like in their size and height. But he was on point. Let me say sharp today.
I have to agree. Thank you, Mike Andrade. Tarek, very cool. Thank you. Tarek, lindo. Oh my God, I'm blushing here.
Translate that for us.
They're calling me handsome.
Oh.
That's very rare in my age.
That's a new one.
When you get it, you need to project out there for the world, you know.
That's a new one for him. That's good.
Let's go back to the narrative before I start self-projecting myself on company's business time. Why? What was Hadi better, Wendy, in your opinion, from the Olympia to the Arnold?
So Hadi came in so clean and crisp. Now he also won the most muscular award, which was cool. And then Samson won the best posing award. So the two of them, they were just a cut above the rest in every way. Most muscular, most polished. Now, from the get-go, you just see, here's one thing that's interesting for the viewers at home, and also for Linda and I who are watching this, and you too, who are watching this on a screen. There are certain things you cannot see on a screen that you can see in person. Samson is a good, he stands out on a screen because of his silhouette, his size. But you could see even through the screen as they continue to pose, Hadi's muscles were so full, they were shining. I can only imagine how much better that even looked in person. So you could see that through the screen, and his control with his midsection, his ability to control every single muscle in his body the whole entire time he was on stage. Unfortunately, that's where he started separating himself from Samson, because Samson was relaxing a lot in poses, relaxing his midsection. And I think that's where Hadi kind of separated himself.
And Samson, he got the best poser award for his posing routine. His posing routine was the best. It was a presentation. He created a posing routine. He hit those poses. He moved quickly. I wish he would have held the poses longer, but it was a beautiful routine. And I'm going to say, out of all the guys, without question.
Which was interesting, because he was like it was the posing that kind of hurt him, but then he was also the best poser, which goes to show that you know, being the best poser, like from an artistic standpoint, doesn't necessarily translate to what the judges are necessarily judging when you're being compared to other athletes, right?
Yeah. But what you just said, Wendy, from an artistic, because we did talk about this yesterday, that doing mandatories is very boring.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of work because it's so boring. You practice in the mirror. It's you have to learn what those poses feel like. A posing routine is very challenging because you have to make up that routine or someone helps you with that routine. That's the presentation. That's the entertainment. He was definitely, without question, routine the best,
Right.
and a great presentation.
Yep.
The key question is this. Samson, a lot of people are going to come out of this Arnold and say, yes, beautiful lines, great poser, incredible physique, but the conditioning was not there. That's what prevented him from surpassing Derek Lunsford and Hadi Chupin. What's going on, Linda? Why are we not getting the level of condition necessary to beat some of these guys that are ahead of him?
You know what? There's something, let me say this. When I see an athlete like Samson with that beautiful structure, the full muscles, it's really challenging for those athletes. And I'm going to give an example. For me, like with Iris Kyle. Iris Kyle was able to like do that, right? You know what I mean? Like a lot of times when I see athletes with beautiful structures, for some reason you don't always see them being the sharpest, crisp. I don't think it's that, because my physique, I'm going to tell you, if you look at photos of me at my first reign, it took a long time for me to get to a place where you see the athlete in 2002 and 2003 and 2000.
I have a question for you, Linda. This is actually the perfect question for you. You're arguably one of the most genetically gifted athletes the sport has ever seen. Do you believe that being so genetically gifted could be both a blessing and a curse? Because I actually think that might be what's happening with Samson. He's so gifted. I mean, imagine Samson with a Hadi Chupin conditioning, right? You were to see him with Hadi's conditioning. I mean, he's so genetically gifted. I almost wonder if it could be a curse and a blessing, depending, you know?
Yeah. I would say that there's some truth to that. I think with the men, for example, a lot of times men it's always about being big. You know, women, we tend to like as far as diet, like we kick butt on diet. Like we have no problem. Like as a female bodybuilder, we want to be big. And I think with the introduction of women's physique, you started to find women bodybuilders tend to kind of not be as ripped as Kim Shizevsky or an Iris Kyle, you know, kind of, I'm going to say almost sometimes we can take the lazy approach, but it's a cursing and a blessing, you know?
I guarantee you that Hadi, even when he's doing his posing routine here, he's keeping his stomach tight that whole time. Even when it looks like he's relaxed, I just know that he's crunching those abs, no matter what, relaxed, moving, whatever, he's like tight, he's on point.
And I'm going to say something too about as far as like the posing routine, like in comparison, I don't believe that Hadi actually had a posing routine. You know what I mean? I don't think he actually had a posing routine. I think that he put a lot of emphasis on the mandatories and that in comparison. So it's just, you know, it is what it is.
Well, I have to say this. I said prior to the Arnold Classic that something is going to something's going to change, right? Because when you have two guys gunning for the second spot, right? Derek Lunsford, the Mr. Olympia, and you have two guys gunning for the second spot. If Hadi Choopan wins this title, then he puts a clear distance between Derek, him, and Samson. Now Samson is the pretty guy that everybody loves. Let me welcome my other co-host, Xavier Wills from Desktop.
What's up, Wendy? What's up, Linda?
Hello.
So I'm saying that now that Hadi wins,
Hi.
how are you? Xavier has one of the best channels, Desktop Bodybuilding. He's the UK voice of bodybuilding there. But my point
Australian.
I thought you were from the UK.
Listen to that accent.
Well, we're all from the UK anyway.
Yeah, well, they all migrated. I thought you were from the UK. My mistake. But going back to the point here, Hadi Choopan puts a clear distance between him and Derek. And now we are going to look at Olympia battle, which is Derek Lunsford versus Hadi Choopan. Samson gets a little bit behind those guys. His chance to really get close to Derek, he had to beat Hadi. But right now, the narrative, Xavier, is going to be Hadi versus Derek, correct?
100%. And Hadi brought a package. This was the thing that I mentioned in my live stream, that Hadi seemed to bring his waist in a dramatic amount. I actually made a video before this Arnold Classic where I was saying, compare Hadi 2019 to 2023 Mr. Olympia, and you can see the aesthetics starting to slowly just go a little bit. You know, he looks phenomenal and improved in some areas, like the back got much bigger and his physique improved in many areas like the size, but he sort of lost the aesthetics a little bit. But this contest, his waist, it's like it went back 4 years and then he's still got the muscle. So it was, if not the best package, it has to be one of the best packages by Hadi Choopan. So it just puts him in the driver's seat to take it to Derek Lunsford. And a lot of people were saying they thought this physique could have beaten Derek Lunsford from the Mr. Olympia last year.
So that was my next question. We have the legend himself, Chris Cormier, joining us. Xavier, do you believe that if Hadi Choopan had displayed this physique at the Olympia,
of course,
he would have been
easy.
He would have. I'm asking Xavier, but Chris Cormier, go ahead and interrupt. It's just who you are. Xavier, we'll go back to you. Let's just go to the rude Chris Cormier. Chris Cormier, do you believe that he would have beaten Derek Lunsford?
Oh, I think so. I don't think he's been that. That's the hardness we was talking about that he no longer possessed, and that's the hardness that we all knew that he could obtain, and that's what was the whole thing about. Was that's what happened to him. He was way harder than Hadi in the Olympia, so that's he did a Hadi on Hadi in Olympia, so that's the thing that he needed to do, was to bring that type of hardness. Now the aesthetics is not there, and that's the thing that we talked about, and we thought that that would be the reason why Samson could beat him, but he wasn't hard enough to make that happen. But he did have the aesthetics over him, and the one who had the most aesthetics to me was Rafael Brandão. He had the most aesthetics in the whole show.
Yes. Yeah.
I had a friend just
Surprisingly so, man. That guy is a little bit more. He's just inches away from taking it all, in my opinion, right now.
Chris, in person, what were you thinking when they brought Akim out for the top 4, and then they gave John De La Rosa for it?
I was thinking they kept judging it. And at the first show yesterday, he didn't look like he could have done that, but he did have some great points, but he actually looked better today. And maybe they kept on that judging panel and kept saying, hey, this guy's deserving it right here now. So
Chris, you said this physique from Hadi Chupin would have beaten Derek Lunsford. Xavier, what's your response?
This one, yeah.
I
What
agree.
about you, Xavier?
I agree because it was just, I think it was so far superior to what he brought to the Olympia that I just think a lot of people said at the Olympia it was close. So if it was close and he's much better, then it only stands to reason that won.
Linda Murray, let's lose some followers. Do you believe this physique would have beaten Derek Lunsford at the Olympia?
Let me think. Well, I'm going to tell you, it would have been so very close. I love Derek Lunsford's lines. I was up close. I was so impressed when Derek turned to the rear and his glutes, it was like, so
It was close.
I normally go with aesthetics. I normally go with the structure. I do prefer Derek Lunsford's structure physique.
Wendy Fortino, your time to lose followers. Would
All right.
this physique from Hadi Chupin have beaten Derek Lunsford at the 2023 Mr. Olympia?
I think that if history repeats itself, there's one thing, but I think you guys are sleeping on Samson a little bit still, because I am of the opinion that the athlete that has the most room to improve might have the best shot to win. Samson, honestly, has the most room to improve. Hadi, I think he was right about where he was at the Olympia, to be honest. I mean, it was so close. I remember watching the three of them go to battle at the Olympia. They were all being moved around, and depending on what light they were under, they each looked impressive depending on what part of the stage they were on. Hadi, I was so impressed with him at the Olympia. I thought it could have gone to him. We need to see him right next to Derek in order to make that assessment. But I also think that if we really believe in Samson and that he could actually make the improvement, like a Hadi level conditioning, I think that it would be a mistake on him.
Yeah.
Well, the reality is that Hadi Chupin is Arnold Classic champion, and Samson Dauda has lost his title. And I love Samson. I want to hear from you, Chris. Chris, do we have a little bit of a theme here that Samson might not be able to get as conditioned in order to beat some of these guys? Is this a theme right now, or is it too early to start saying this stuff?
It's a little early, but at the same time, Tarek, if he thinks everything is fine, then yeah, it's a problem, because you got to see. I mean, let's just picture him with some of those poses he does, some of those things that he leaves himself open to. Like, if you look at the aesthetics of his body, you would think, oh yeah, win. But that glaring situation in his stomach area is glaring at times, and I think that's what Hadi was like. It was like chomping water for him. He was just swimming around like sharks, like he was just bleeding, he was just coming out, and he was physically, purposely displaying to his abs all the time throughout the show. I think everybody witnessed that. Kept showing the serratus on each side. When they did the quarter turns, he showed the serratus on the side, and Samson didn't show up in that pose. He did that to both sides, and showing all the facets of his abs all the time, vacuuming, slamming down on it, vacuuming, slamming down on it. Like he wanted the judge to know, yeah, I got this, and you don't possess this type of sharpness.
Xavier, do you feel like Hadi was intentionally and purposely exposing Samson, especially on the ab shots, looking at the judges going, look at my obliques, I have it, he doesn't?
100%. And he's obviously coached by Hani Rambot as well, who's incredibly smart with this sort of stuff. So I think it was like a directive that they were going to go, okay, well, Samson, while he does have that beautiful shape and those round muscle bellies and he looks fantastic, he did have a little bit of distension, and Hadi goes, okay, I'm doing the opposite of that. I'm pulling vacuums. And Hadi, to have that much size on his physique and to pull vacuums, it just accentuated it, and that's what sort of hurt Samson. But Samson still, like Wendy said, Samson was still phenomenal with this show. It's not like he was for Samson was out of condition. It's not like he was off. He still had, details in the hamstrings, but standing next to Hadi in some of Hardy's best conditioning, it's what. So I think Hadi did play that up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Mike, go ahead, Linda.
Can I say that to me, like looking at Samson Dada and Rafael, and let's say I'm Hadi, I'm gonna watch those two because it's like to me, Samson has been consistent. You know what I mean? Like it's that thing. It's what Wendy's saying. I mean, when I think back to Ronnie Coleman when he placed 9th at the Olympia, when you see someone with the genetics, the structure, he's in great shape, and it's just those small things. Like, dude, like I'm gonna keep my eye on you because that's phenomenal.
Right.
Samson has a phenomenal physique, and Rafael, they have room for improvement. I don't even really know how much Hadi can improve.
Yeah.
Put on his physique.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I just would like to mention a name here, and Chris Cormier is very familiar. We had a guy that had incredible genetics, but he never really got conditioned, especially on the hamstrings and glutes. And, it was Melvin Anthony, right, Chris? I mean, Melvin Anthony was an incredible competitor, and everybody was waiting for his conditioning, and it never came. So it never came to fruition. The key question is, and I think Melvin placed 4th at the Olympia at one point, right, Chris?
Right.
So that's the question. But I want to go back to Rafael Brandão. Guys, what do you guys think about this guy? Now he's in 3rd place at the Arnold. I was surprised because we've been saying he doesn't have enough mass. He shows up pretty big, good condition, and he's got the most beautiful lines.
Yeah. They're very deceiving. I mean, when he was going through doing his individual posing routine, because I remember what he looked like yesterday, and I got to see the comparisons yesterday. And then today he's up there doing this individual. I was talking to a friend, and he said reminded him of like Bob Paris. You know what I mean? Beautiful lines and that structure, face from head to toe. And I said, wait until you see him up against Samson and Hadi.
Yeah.
He's big. He's going to be, and sure enough, his presence, he was like one of the tallest guys, without question. Yeah. He's got a lot of room. I mean, beautiful structure.
He has the most balanced physique. Like a lot of the guys, when you look at Hadi, I'm like, oh my gosh, his legs. You look Samson, his bubbles in his back. And things pop out. But with Rafael, he's just so perfectly balanced. It's just a perfect X-frame shape. Just the flow from top to bottom is almost keeps you from looking at him because you're so distracted by the shiny objects that you forget that you have this perfectly symmetrical physique in front of you,
Xavier, can Rafael make a move against guys like Samson, Hadi, and Derek? Or we still have a little bit of time for him to get to those guys?
I mean, it's all time, but it's been maybe 17 months since he placed top 10 in the Olympia. So he placed 10th in the 2022 Mr. Olympia. He's added reportedly. I actually just had Miguel Chain on Desktop Bodybuilding before the Arnold Classic went live, and he was telling me a bit of information about some of the Brazilian competitors, which I'm sure you know about, Tarek. And he was saying how he's, reportedly up, 10 to 15 pounds. If he can add another 5, it's like I'm sort of tired of people saying, oh, Rafael isn't big enough. It just doesn't. Now you can't say that because you look at these comparisons side by side. And I was like, wow, his shoulders are huge. His arms are huge. His chest is good. Legs are amazing. It's like, what's he missing? Really nothing. There's nothing missing there. And he has hands down my favorite physique in the IFBB Pro League today, and one of my favorite physiques ever, which sounds crazy to say with guys like obviously you, Chris, and everyone else that came before. these guys, but it's it is one of my favorite physiques. It's like a pumped up Bob Paris.
Yeah.
Chris,
Right.
is Rafael the real deal? No pun intended.
Let me tell you about Rafael.
Oh my God.
Let me tell you.
The American correcting the pronunciation of the Brazilian.
I know.
He is the answer to all the Brazilians' dreams and hopes. They better put stock in this guy. He is the real deal. I'm telling you, I was watching him very closely, and I was inching him closer to taking some shots away from Samson. I saw that tonight, and I mean, truth be told, I probably would have even inched him closer to that second spot as the show went on, because they kept putting those two together, but he had clean lines in his physique, and he gained this weight, but it didn't go to his stomach. It didn't go to just gain weight as a competitor. So, as some of these competitors do, I mean, and improve his back development and thickness there. He's got the last spread. Improve those abs. Don't be happy with the abs you have. Keep building those abs throughout the middle. The serratus and everything is fine. He needs a little bit more middle, because he come down crashing on those abs. It's good, but it's not a death-defying pose for him. Stay in that front muscular that's his trademark. He had the best front last spread in the whole show. That front most muscular, stay there. He go down to the crab and he loses it. That was not a shot for me. Also, not really aesthetic guy's shot. That's a big mass muscle shot. I would stay in the front, hands claps together. That front last spread. That's all him all day. He came down from that side chest. He looks great in the side chest. If he goes down to that 3/4 shot with the serratus and oblique showing, dynamite shot for him. And I would stick to those shots that I look the best at. Don't go worrying about people doing the crab, and it's okay, but it's not gonna move furniture around for you.
I want to really quick. I want to say to the viewers, the champion is always the one with the target on their back. So when we talk about some of these other athletes, we're talking about how impressed we were with them and their chances of chasing down the champion. I just want to be clear that Hadi is an incredible champion. I mean, he absolutely 1,000,000% deserved the victory tonight. He was the most polished. He was the most muscular. He was the best. And so it really comes down to breaking these other bodybuilders down and figuring out what they would need to do to chase him down for that title. Because I was seeing some of the comments, and people think we're upset that Hadi. I personally, I don't want to speak for everyone else, I am so impressed with Hadi. He's
absolutely.
Yeah, Hadi displayed, in my personal opinion, I judged Hadi when he placed third at the Olympia and he outconditioned everybody. He was a bit smaller. But Hadi, in my personal opinion, this Arnold Classic physique was Hadi Choopan's best physique. And he looks very poised to put on a huge fight. If he shows up at the Olympia with this physique, Derek Lunsford has a lot of work to do, because his physique improved dramatically, especially on the back shots. My question to you guys, Chris, I'll start with you, since you're losing more followers than anybody. If Hadi Choopan is on the first call out, Derek Lunsford is on the first call out, Samson Dauda is on the first call out at the Olympia, those three guys, it looks like they are the three-head monster. They're going to be on the first call out. If you needed to add three more names after watching this Arnold Classic, knowing that Nick Walker is going to do the New York Pro, knowing that Brendan Curry is a former Olympian, who would you have the three other names on the first call out at the Olympia after this Arnold Classic?
Nick Walker, for sure. Rafael, I would throw him in the mix, because I think he's going to improve. More so now. I know he's going to do the Arnold Classic Brazil. Hopefully, I'll be there also. And then there is
Andrew Jacked, Brandon, Crizzo.
Yeah, I'll go with Andrew Jack.
Andrew Jack, Nick Walker, and Rafael. Xavier, if these three guys are on the first call out, whether you're in Australia or in the UK or New Zealand, let's lose some followers. Who else is on the first call out of the Olympia?
I don't like to be boring, but I sort of agree. But there's a lot of guys fighting for it. So you've got Tony O'Burton, you've got Mikkel Crizzo, you've got Rafael Brandão, you've got so many guys that I think are going to be in the Olympia that weren't there last year. You've got even guys like Martin Fitzwater, who I know he's going to be really motivated for it. You've got obviously Nexzilla, Rubiel if he qualifies. There's so many guys, but if I had to take a guess this far out, I'm going to say, yeah, the same. Rafael, Nick Walker, and Andrew Jacks, I think will fit into that top 6.
Linda.
Is that what Chris said?
Yeah, that's exactly what Chris said.
I'm going to take Andrew Jack.
You can stick with me.
I'm
We're good.
I'm going to add Brandon, Mr. Olympia.
You're gonna so
Brandon Curry.
Rafael.
I'm taking out Andrew Jack and putting in Brandon Curry because just for consistency. Yes.
Okay.
I go with folk that are consistent.
Yes.
Wendy Fortino.
Yes.
Samson Dauda, Hadi Chupin, and Derek are on the first call out of the Olympia, hypothetically speaking. What are the other 3 competitors after this Arnold Classic?
I'm with Linda on aesthetics. I'm a huge Hunter Labrada fan. I would love to see him in the mix. There's also an athlete we haven't really talked about in a while that I think could be emerging, which is Brett Wilkin. I know he is a really strong competitor with a lot of potential. I know, he kind of took some time off, I think, for his family, but those are 2 athletes that I feel like we sleep on a little bit. But Andrew Jacked is someone who I just keeps coming to my mind. I mean, I'm really impressed with Andrew Jacked. But I'm a Hunter Labrada fan. I love that aesthetic physique. I'd love to see him come in that mix.
So you got who? Andrew Jacked, Hunter Labrada, and who else? One more name.
Those are the names that I'm gonna stick to. I'm gonna defer to Xavier.
No, but you need one more name. You need one more name.
Don't get me involved, Wendy.
You want me to do 5, right?
No. Hadi Chupin is there. Derek Lunsford is there, and Samson Dauda is there. You said I like Andrew Jack. I like Hunter. That's 5. Give me one more name.
6? You need 6?
Yes.
But that 6 is such a wild card. I mean,
what about Nick Walker?
I could list off so many. Whoa, we didn't add Nick Walker in there? Oh.
No, that's what I was about to say. I know
what am I thinking?
Okay. So she adds Nick Walker. Yeah. Just want to make sure for all the Brazilian fans.
Nick Walker, I did not forget about
like Rafael Brandão. She thinks Rafael Brandão is not going to make to the first call out. Her Instagram handle. What's your Instagram handle, Wendy?
Do not do that.
So
it's a wild card. 6 is a wild card.
Hey, Chris, let's go back. You and I have been on Akim Williams for the past 10 years. Okay, We've been saying Akim Williams. If you come in conditioned, shredded, you can win the whole thing. He doesn't really have a great back, but some of his side shots are epic.
Man, he really surprised me today. Striated quads, old school style quads like that. He was in a great shape. That was one of the best looks I've seen of him, bar none.
Yeah.
And it was great to see, how he just came there and he was fired up being in that 4th spot, doing the preliminaries down there, and he was. I couldn't believe how that front crab, that most muscle to the front was great. Improve those abs some more, big guy, and you're gonna be moving up right there because the back double bicep looked great, last spread, and he has all of that mass. So I think that's where the judges started seeing he had some striations where he needed them, and I think that we really rewarded him on that.
Yeah. Well, Akim Williams is, man, I remember when he placed 6th at the Olympia. He has some shots that are bar none Olympia
Boom.
caliber shots, such as his side chest and his side triceps. I think he needs more back thickness, more back detail.
And don't
But
forget about those abs.
a little bit more abs. But he moved on during prejudging, and he ended up in 6th. In 5th place was James Hollinshead and John De La Rosa. Xavier, John De La Rosa surprised everybody. Nobody was talking about him before the show. What happened?
I thought he looked awesome, and he just made an evolution of his comeback last year. So he came back sort of earlyish last year from he had a bicep tear, I believe it was. So he came back sort of a little bit early. I think they got to 10 weeks out or 12 weeks out, and John was sort of like, can we do this? Let's do it. Made his comeback, placed 2nd, pretty good comeback. And then he comes in, and I saw before and afters before this show of however many days or weeks out last year, and then the same amount or close to the same amount out this year. And I'm like, okay, he's improved. So I knew it was going to be something good, because he always tends to look better on stage than he does in his pre-contest updates. And he looked good in his pre-contest updates. So I was super impressed. But Tarek, I just wanted to ask you as well, because Akim, just quickly back to Akim, he obviously was in the last call out at the pre-judging, and then was in the top 4 call out at finals. Is that really, because people were like, oh, well, why was he in the top 4 call out at finals? But it's meant to be 50% score at prejudging, 50% at finals. Is that why he sort of fit into that in-between spot in 6th?
Yeah, you're correct here. So listen, we got to look at the score sheets, but I wouldn't be surprised if Akim Williams beat some of these guys that he lost on the overall points in the final. So maybe he beat James Hollinshead and John De La Rosa on the finals, and that's why he got that final 4 call out. But his points in the prejudging were probably behind John De La Rosa and James Hollinshead. So that's what happened. I think Akim Williams probably placed 4th in the finals. Or maybe they're just bringing for that call out to see, listen, is he really that good? Can he hang with some of these guys? Are we seeing something? Because Akim Williams, out of all the bodybuilders I've judged, Akim Williams is one of the most interesting characters. When Brandon Curry won the Mr. Olympia, Akim Williams was in the 6th place, and Brandon Curry, next to Akim Williams' side chest, looked small, and he was Mr. Olympia. Yep. But then Akim Williams turns to the back. It's missing a lot of muscle on that back. So it's very deceiving. You look at the guy, and he goes, this guy is beating the entire lineup on a pose, but then he's losing to the entire lineup on a different pose. He's a mystery. Chris and I have done lives with him. We think he can be Mr. Olympia if he gets a back and comes condition. But man, let's talk about these 3 guys here. They were not happy being on the last call out. Nobody was happy about being on the last call out. Chris, who was the one that you think disappointed the most here?
Well, I mean, right there, Justin Rodriguez, who did improve so much. I didn't give him enough credit, leading up to the show. I feel like he did bring a level of hardness that we've been looking for from him. He still can improve in the front quads there, and the arms and the chest. But also Muhammad right there trained hard for this show. I know he gave it all he had, and he just came up short today. And then MD over there. I know he wanted to come in hard, but I think he's still chasing size, and I don't think that's something that he needs to do is chase size. I think he just slowly needs to put his physique together.
Wendy, Linda, Xavier, who do you think was the competitor that you guys were expecting the most here?
Expecting the most from overall?
Yes.
I think Justin Rodriguez, I was thinking would be a little bit higher. But let me just say this, the bodybuilding division is the most exciting right now. And in my generation that I've been competing, I'm not going to talk about Chris's generation, but right now it's so exciting because it's impossible to predict things past top 3 right now for me because there's so many amazing athletes that are up and coming. It could really go. I mean, look at John De La Rosa came out of seemingly nowhere, and there's a lot of talent that with a lot of potential. So it's just a very exciting time right now, you know?
Yeah. I'm going to say like Antoine, how do you pronounce his last name?
Antoine Vaillant.
Vaillant. I always love like his entertainment, like his energy, you know, and I guess I always look to see like if an athlete gets better, their conditioning better. So yeah, it's something about his energy that I enjoy seeing him on stage. So
He had a brilliant
Yeah.
routine.
yeah,
He's very entertaining.
very entertaining.
He won the Chicago Pro and he won the Cali. He had some health issues, but he came back strong and he looks good. It was nice to see him on stage. It was a tremendous bodybuilding show, man. The expectations were huge. And Arnold Schwarzenegger announced after the show that he was going to give the prize money to $500,000 to the winner. $500,000 to the winner, which is great. I would like for him to add all the categories as well.
Yes, thank you very much.
So I love the fact that he's raising the prize money, but what's going on with female bodybuilding? What's going on with women's physique?
What's going on with figure?
You know, what's going on with 212? You know, I think if the Olympia cut all those categories, they could give $700,000 to the winner.
Absolutely.
Am I playing devil's advocate here?
No, that's right. Hey, preach. Tell the truth, because that is the truth. I mean, just in the fact, if you add the other categories, you have to fly those athletes out there. You have to pay for their hotel, all of the expenses per diem, plus prize money. So you cannot claim to be the best bodybuilding competition in the world when you are not including all of the divisions. You cannot. Simple.
And wellness, you know, they got wellness there. I'm sure Arnold loves Franciele Matos, but wellness prize money at the Arnold is $7,000. At the Olympia is $50,000. So
correct.
I love the fact that Arnold is willing to spend more money. I think that's great. But let's look at some of the other categories. Arnold, I would think that all the female categories are also important. And I would love to see that.
Also, those athletes on the Olympia stage kick butt all year to qualify to be on the Olympia stage. The Arnold is invitational only. Am I correct?
Correct, yeah.
Invitation only. These athletes, I go to shows all year long. My show, the Chicago Pro, Tampa, Puerto Rico, every single show. And these athletes show up to qualify for the Olympia. So can't be the best in the world.
Yeah, Xavier, what do you think about the increase of the prize money in one category, but also not having all the categories?
Yeah, well, I suppose we don't know yet whether the prize money will change in other categories, but it's a huge amount more money for one person because we don't know if we're going to see, okay, is it 200 grand to the winner and then 50 extra K to second place and 20 extra for third, or is it just going to stay the same for these other places? Because we saw it many years ago, actually before it was owned by Jake Wood at the Olympia. You know, we saw that I think 300 or 250K scribbled out, and then Phil Heath got himself an extra $100 or $150,000 on stage like that. And it's a big move because it makes it go, oh, first prize is X amount. but it doesn't sometimes take into account some of these other competitors that are third, fourth, and some of the other divisions as well. And I think that, like you said, that the Arnold can do whatever they want in terms of what divisions they have there. But the thing is, it's being a legacy competition and having those titles. I don't like it when they're taken away. And yeah, maybe we can add them back later, but there's a gap. You know, there's a gap where the Figure International now doesn't even exist currently. And it's like, I don't like to see that. I like to see all the divisions there. At the same time, I never want to claim this to be like a negative thing. And I do think it's an overall positive, more money going into bodybuilding. And obviously pro open bodybuilding is my favorite division. It's a division I follow the most. So I love to see it because it's probably going to draw more of those top tier talent competitors, the Mr. Olympia winners, the second place finishers, the third place finishers. And I assume that's to try to, one, obviously make a news headline by doing that, and to get those top guys' attention to go, okay, yeah, it's really worth it for me to do another prep because there's $500,000 on the line, which is obviously life-changing money, really. So, Tarek, I've got a question though. I'm wondering if this will, put a certain amount of pressure on the Olympia to think, okay, even just for the open bodybuilding now that the Olympia offer more overall, and they're obviously a bigger contest, and they're, like Linda said, they're flying in so many people, but will the Olympia feel pressured to at least give an extra $100,000 now to the winner of the Olympia because they won't want to be, second, because it's, while it, Olympia may give away more, but they can sort of, I suppose, maybe point to that to be like, we pay more than anyone for the winner.
Yeah, no, I mean, there is that factor. And I think some people might feel pressured. Personally, I think, myself, I work for the Olympia. I represent the Olympia. It's you're looking at $500,000 for the winner in the bodybuilding, which would be just $100,000 more for the winner at the Olympia. But the challenge is that if you want to compete against the Olympia, you really need to compete against the Olympia. Your men's physique prize money is $10,000. The Olympia is $50,000, so that's 5 times more.
Is there only 10?
Yeah, only 10,000. Your Fitness International prize money is $25,000, and the Olympia is $50,000, so that's twice more. The wellness prize money is $7,000, and I know Franciele Matos. $7,000 is good for her, but she gets $50,000 from the Olympia for the past 3 years, so that's $150,000 she got. The wheelchair is $4,000, and the Olympia is $50,000. I love the prize money increase. If I was part of the Arnold staff, this is just me being an outsider, I would say, guys, let's get this $100,000 extra because everybody's happy with the $300,000, and let's bring back some of these categories, right? Figure, women's physique, you got Natalia Coelho and Sarah Viegas. That's one of the great rivalries. I mean, you do a show without Sydney Gillen, so that's my only thing. I would love to have the Arnold with all the categories. I got Sean Clarita. We didn't have Sean Clarita. We didn't have Keon Pearson. So, but overall, I think is a nice increase on the prize money for the men's bodybuilding. I think the Olympia wants to match that $100,000.
And let me say, Tarek, it would be absolutely zero problem for Jake Wood to do this. He could raise it to $1 million if he wanted to, because as far as being a true champion to the sport of bodybuilding, he brought in the Olympia Masters in Romania. That's Jake. He brought in, there's Romania Muscle Fest, where athletes throughout the world can qualify where they can turn pro. The Atlanta Pro, I can go on and on. All he'd have to do is take some of those shows and put the money. So that it's not about money. This is not about money.
It's about growing the It's about growing the sport and having the biggest impact on the most amount of people.
Absolutely. Linda, you brought up a great point. You take the prize money for the Master Olympia was $225,000. Jake Wood and Dan Solomon could have gone on stage and say, hey, let's give an extra $225,000 for the winner of the men's bodybuilding. But I think they are incentivizing some of the older competitors to become the best they can be. And I love that about him. You know, I would like to suggest the Arnold to do the same so that people that are 40, 50 can do it. But it's their business strategy. They do a great job. But with all due respect, the Olympia is the Olympia. And $100,000 here, $100,000 there won't make a difference. What makes a difference is incentivizing every category. And the Olympia has done that. I would love to see the Arnold go, hey, you have all the money, Arnold. Go back and put $100,000 more and bring figure back. Bring women's physique. Bring women's bodybuilding. I would love to see that. Chris Cormier, what do you think?
I think it's more like, they had a few people drop out of the class, and maybe it was just a ploy to reestablish the prestige of the show. I'm just wondering, you had Andrew Jack, you had Rubio not do the show. Maybe it's like, hey, we call on you guys, like you guys got to come. Maybe something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's go on to men's physique. The Brazilian Diogo Montenegro.
Hey, my phone is ready to die out, guys.
We don't care about your going away.
You did that yesterday.
Let's talk about men's physique.
Girl, y'all at home. I'm in the.
Oh man, it's when Wendy Fortino is doing that. It's not me.
Savage.
Chris,
I'm in the field. Thank you guys.
It was Wendy
Fortino. You guys in the comfort of your own homes. I got to scramble and get some food right now.
Yeah, you're right.
You're doing good, Chris.
You're looking flat, Chris.
Thanks for being at home. Thanks, guys.
Let's talk about the men's physique category. The Brazilian guy, man, he was emotional. Wendy, he was emotional. He gave Arnold a hug. Arnold might want to invest on a new suit with $100,000.
I saw someone comment about that too. Like, wonder if Arnold, his expensive suit got messed up from the hug. But
100%.
Listen, it's nothing. There's nothing better that I like to see than a champion really feeling that win. And when he reached over and hugged Arnold, he didn't just hug him. He laid his head on his chest.
Yeah, he wouldn't lay his head on his chest.
He probably fantasized about that moment for so long. That might have been what got him through his cardio every morning. Just imagining this vision of him laying his head on Arnold's chest. And I'm not gonna lie, that probably would carry me through my prep too. So it was really cool. I like that.
Yeah, that was great. It was wonderful.
Xavier, I was a little emotional when he put his head on Arnold's chest. Were you emotional too?
Well, I was doing my stream and then I looked down, and because I was listening to it and responding to comments and doing like 4 different things at once. So I was half watching it and I looked down and I just see his head on his chest. I'm like, how has it got to this? Like, how did he get to that position? Because if it was Arnold and it was me, I mean, you can obviously tell he's just overcome by emotion because I know even myself, like when I've been competing and been presented awards, I know that tan's going to go on someone. So I'm always like, when you go to kiss the person, put the thing around your neck, you sort of just don't even touch their face. You do that sort of thing. So, but he was just.
Look at that.
Yeah. See, I didn't see that part.
Yeah. And then Arnold kind of leaned in, and then he was like,
he couldn't help himself.
Yes, he couldn't help himself.
The build up. We know it's coming. There he is.
Whoa.
Arnold.
There you go. Very good.
Hey.
He's like, whoa, buddy. I didn't sign up for all of this. The night's almost over with. Whoa.
I have purchased so many suits I tried to get my suits, at nice places, and I gave up. That suit that Arnold Schwarzenegger is using is Dunzo, okay? Dunzo.
Uh-huh.
The hand on the back right there, those 5 fingers will not come out. The sweat combined with the tan right on the front of the suit is game over, okay? Diogo Montenegro just terminated Arnold Schwarzenegger's suits.
Don't you
And he put
learn
his
by
hand
now?
up too, like, no. And then he just, it was too late.
Get a brown suit. I mean, I would learn my lesson if it happened to me at least once. I would just buy a brown suit.
Wendy, the tanning is, I go to my cleaner. She looks at me like I'm the devil coming in asking for discount. The tanning is a substance that with this kind of suit, it doesn't go, even black suit. But hey, listen, nice hug. The kid was emotional. Huge victory for Brazil because they were all crying that Ramon lost. It was like the end of the world. Ramon lost. People wanted to start a revolution in Brazil, and I had to remind them it's just bodybuilding, guys. We still have high unemployment.
One of our fans said, "Damn," he said, "Why is Arnold horrified? Just take it to the dry cleaners."
But it looks like it's his son or something, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
I just love Arnold's hand. He's trying to stop it.
Wear the tan spots like war wounds. Like, just wear it with pride. You should wear a white suit, get all the tan spots, and walk around with pride.
Mm-hmm.
Linda knows. She's seen me when I'm in shows and guys come to hug me. I say, if you're gonna destroy my suit, I'm gonna give you a really nice tight, hug. You know what I mean? I'm gonna make an impact on your life. But Diogo Montenegro, did you notice, Wendy, Linda, Xavier, the men's physique, they became more aesthetically pleasing with now the limit on the weight, right?
Absolutely. And we're getting a lot of comments from our fans saying that they really love that, that look, and they're happy to see that on this champion on men's physique. The numbers were starting to go down on the like amateur level, the NPC, because athletes were feeling like, I can't get, that big.
Yeah. Yep.
It got to a point where it was sort of unattainable because men's physique, especially, I would say it's sort of in terms of attainability, and also where people can go, yeah, maybe I can do that. Whether it is realistically attainable for certain people with certain genetics or not, you still see a sort of a top endpoint where you're like, it's not completely unrealistic. And I think it sort of hit that peak maybe like a few years back before guys got a little bit too big. But I love that it's coming back a bit more towards this look. And because I remember seeing, I can't remember who it was, Tarek. I think it was one of the Brazilian athletes. He was in the gym at the same time as Urs. And I remember seeing the upper body. I'm like, he's bigger than Urs. Like, I was like,
oh, wow.
Easily. And I'm like, okay. And Urs was even saying, he's like, wow, he is crazy looking, he's massive. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, when it goes, and that's where I feel like it hit the peak in terms of size. And this was maybe 1 or 2 years ago. And I think now this is a nice return back to really aesthetic. And I like how it's not like the biggest guy wins, Do you think
it might have hurt some of them though? I think it might have hurt. Like, I was looking at Chiron, and I know
you're right.
He won the Legion, big upset, beating Aaron Banks, and then he came into the Olympia. Maybe wasn't quite as full and impressive as he was at the Legion, but then he came in here, and I can't help but think that the weight limit might have prevented him from having as much pop in his lower body, and that is a large part of his physique from far away. So it could have hurt some of them, and it helped others.
For sure.
Yeah,
Chiron's a thick guy as well.
Yeah,
Chiron looks like a linebacker for the Giants or something. He needs to downsize a little bit, but he's a great competitor. Congratulations to Diogo Montenegro. I want to talk to you guys about the bikini. Linda, Wendy, you guys did a live with the winner, with Laura Lee Chapato.
Yes.
Here she is crying. And she wins. Wendy, what did you think of her victory? She was the favorite.
I'm just going to start off by saying I was kind of bummed that she didn't get to talk to Arnold.
Yes.
I think she was kind of standing there waiting for him to come. So I was bummed out that she didn't get to. She probably practiced something that she wanted to say to him. It's one of the things that athletes look forward to, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was close between her and Amy. I actually, in prejudging, thought it was leaning more towards Amy, to be honest, only because Laura Lee, she looked incredible. She lost. The judges, you know, I know you guys want to see her tone down the size of
her legs.
But I actually prefer, maybe this isn't the winning physique, but to me, I feel like when she's a little fuller in her gluteus medius or upper glutes, a little bit more hamstrings, I love that pop on her. So she definitely did what it took to win the show, right?
Yes, she did.
So yeah, but her and Amy, a 1 point difference between the two of them, that was close. I mean, it sounded to me like it was really close.
Yeah, it was close. And I did feel that I loved her from the rear. Laura Lee, I when I compared the two, I think it's just two different bodies, two apples and oranges, you know what I mean? And she did what the judges asked of her. We had a whole conversation about the challenge of her bringing down her thighs. And she loves to train. And we know as women that it's, you know, you're going to sacrifice muscle, like sacrificing the upper body as well. So she had, she was leaner probably, and her upper body than whatever she had to do to get her thighs down, to decrease it, you know. So I'm just really, I was very happy.
She also had really good balance between her upper and her lower half when she turned to the back. I love seeing a little delineation between the rear delt and the tricep when the bikini girls do their back shots. And that combined with the lower body, it, unlike wellness, we do want to see that hourglass. It's got to be proportional top to bottom. So to see just her next to the other girls with a little tiny bit of pop, but not a bunch of muscle, was really nice to see from the back.
Yeah. And Amy she was not too tight. She was not too soft. She has an athletic look. So it was really close.
It was close.
Very
I think
nice.
Laura Lee as well. She had that sort of like Janet Leung look a little bit, with just being a little bit less muscular than she previously was. And like you said, bringing down the quads as well. I actually think Amy had slightly more muscular quads at this point. And like you said, Wendy, I prefer the slightly more muscular look that she previously had. But then I was sort of thinking about it while you was talking, and I'm like, but what do we want bikini to be? And it sort of goes back to the men's physique thing too. It's more, it's not obviously at this level, it's not entry level, but in terms of size, in terms of girls wanting to get into the sport, if they're, you know, not muscular and there was no bikini, what would they have to go into? Wellness or figure or something, which is much more intimidating. And I think the bikini gets more girls into the sport. And this sort of look, I think, will get more girls into the sport too, because girls will still see this and women will still see this and go, oh, they're really muscular. But I'm like, no, you need to see them in person. You need to see them up close, walking around. These girls are not big, muscular girls whatsoever. And they do have muscle, but it's, you know, the way it's proportioned and it's the shape and everything. And I thought both these girls were phenomenal. Like the red on Amy looked amazing with her hair and everything. And her physique was just awesome. They were just slightly different, but they were both phenomenal in their own right. And
Laura Lee nails her presentation. Her presentation is just flawless.
Yes, congratulations. I want to mention here the wheelchair winner, gentleman from India, Harjan John. Great physique, great arms. Look at the arms on the young man. He's from India. Congratulations to Sharu and Manish. Those guys do a great job in India incentivizing the wheelchair division. So we want to honor this this young man. Congratulations on a great victory, wheelchair champion. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, I would like to put some of you on the spot. Here, are you ready, Xavier?
Yes, I'm ready. I don't know why you have to pick me first, but
Thank you.
I know, so we can prepare our answers.
Who's winning? Xavier, who's winning the Mr. Olympia?
I'm going to say Derek Lunsford still, although if Derek, I feel like Derek has to improve at this point. Like, even though Derek is phenomenal, if Hadi brings this package, it means Derek has to improve. But Derek he's improved every year lately. Like, he's improved. The first year he did that Mr. Olympia, placing second in the Open, phenomenal. Comes back, wins the Olympia. He got better. Derek definitely got better. When you see that side leg, you see a lot of the different shots. When you put them side by side, he was much better. Can he make those same improvements again? I don't know. I think he'll make at least some improvements to his physique. And I think that might be enough, but I think it's going to be insanely close between Hadi and Derek. And can Samson go away now, bring that conditioning in? Or is he getting a bit tired? Is his physique, at some point your physique starts to become resistant to, if you're pushing yourself too hard. And I know Samson, and I know he's told me, and I'm friends with Samson, he has to push himself extremely, extremely hard to get in the condition he gets into. And I don't know what more he can do, really, apart from maybe increase cardio, because I don't think he does crazy amounts of cardio, but would that hurt his physique? So, yeah, I'm going to say, I'm saying Derek but marginally.
Linda Murray, who's winning the Olympia?
Yeah, Derek Lunsford, and I will also say that marginally. I think the challenge, but he's already proven to me that he can do this, but now he has to do it under being the current Olympia champion. It's always challenging for men to not try to fix something that's not broken. Like, it's nothing broken. Like, you can't do anything drastic and try to say, I'm going to be bigger, or, he's married, he just had a baby. So I'm going to go with Derek Lunsford. He's proven to me when he moved from 212 up into the Open, I was curious if he would sacrifice conditioning and come in and try to be bigger because he was in the Open, but he proved to me that that's not the case. The challenge for him, and Hadi's already gotten past this, the challenge is, now you're the current champion. How do you handle being the current champion and defending that title?
Wendy Fortino.
Yes.
Who's winning the Mr. Olympia?
Look, we have a new era here. We don't have Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, Phil Heath. We don't have someone who is a running champion. We are dealing with a lot of variables. Okay. And so whatever we say, it's really honestly just, there's so many variables. I am going to go with who I think is the hungriest for the title. I think that Hadi is going to be the hungriest for that title coming off of 2023. And I've seen how intense he is. I know Hani personally, and I know that they are fighters, and I know that they are champion mindset. That is what I think is going to be the thing that really separates, because this era we're in right now is exciting and it's new and it's different. We don't really, as fans, we don't really have somebody that we're following that we think, okay, this is going to be our champion for the next 8, 10, whatever years. So yeah, I mean, that's not really a clear answer directly, but that's how I feel about it.
I think it's a great answer.
Yeah.
Well, we have controversy, and I love it.
Who did, Tarek? Do you have?
Well, I'll be judging the show, so I can't say anything. I'll say Linda Murray is winning. Linda Murray is winning.
Yeah.
Great job. I want to thank Xavier from Australia. What time is it in Australia right now?
3 p.m. It's the afternoon on a Sunday.
Not bad. I thought it was 3 a.m. Your wife was going to go crazy on you, but it's 3 p.m. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Desktop Bodybuilding is one of my favorite channels. I want you to go there and subscribe. Sometimes this guy gets information before any of us. I don't know how he does it, but he has some info that none of us have. He has great relationship with the competitors. I want you to subscribe right now to Desktop Bodybuilding. Thank you so much, Xavier. And
thank you so much.
Murray, 8-time Miss Olympia, my co-host, Wendy Fortino. This is the Mr. Olympia Arnold Classic revise. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.